Hi ladies, welcome back to my channel. So I have a new video topic today, and I thought this would be a good one to make. I don't hear too many women talk about this except for women who actually live this kind of lifestyle or older women who've been through this. But basically, it's a video encouraging women to start requiring more out of men before having children with them. And by requiring more from the men that you're choosing to have children with before having children with them, you're essentially securing your legacy, that they thrive instead of trying to survive. So I see so many women complain about the same things, yet they look around and they have other women who complain about the same things they're complaining about. And it's like you can tell that it's just not clicking in a lot of our heads to make to make us set a different choices, to change our behaviors. So typically now what we see is people just date, and then they have a baby together, or two or three or more, and then they may go ahead and get married and do their thing or whatever. And you may see the woman working, the man's working, and the woman is trying to juggle working, cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the kids, and then she's trying to make sure that she looks like something if she has energy for that. A lot of times she doesn't put the energy towards herself because she simply doesn't have it. She's so tired and burnt out. So her looks and her health kind of fall to the wayside after having children. And she kind of loses herself. And this is a reoccurring thing we see, especially in the Western culture. And an easy way to alleviate this is to do what I discussed in one of my previous videos, which was to step into your power as a woman and require more before you even get to a point of trying to have a man's children, before you even think about birthing his babies. Requiring things be put into place first to ensure that you and that baby are taken care of. So we see certain women, we only think that only middle class or upper class women should get this thing. Like, we hear about women getting push presents where men are gifting them vehicles, or large gifts, vacations, baby moons, all kinds of things for giving life for him, for giving him a legacy, because without a woman, his genes die off. So you are essentially giving him everlasting life through the form of your womb. And he knows that. Some men know that, and that's why they do have the push presence, and that's why they pamper their women, because they understand the value that their women bring to their life. And those women require that, and they only align themselves with men who understand that, are willing to do those things, and who have the means to do so. We have so many women who are currently struggling and are choosing to have children by men who are struggling as well. And then they birth the baby into this world, and now they're struggling even more because these children are expensive. We have women who complain about their bodies. Their stomachs, their breasts, their bodies just not being what they used to be, and how they love their babies dearly. They just wish that they can have their old body back as well, because that's a part of their confidence. And they often go years with a body they don't really care, they don't really like how their body is anymore after having childbirth, and they don't see a way of being able to fix it because they don't have the finances to do so, because they're struggling. A lot of women aren't appreciated during their pregnancies. They're working during their pregnancies, paying bills during their pregnancies, all the way up until they have their babies. Their men don't even care enough to be able to alleviate that stress during the time she's carrying the baby. Now, it's a difference in which if she chooses to do that. But I'm speaking for women who have no choice. They have to grind. 9 months pregnant and all. With a man. And we have to stop and ask ourselves, why don't we require more from men before choosing to bear their children? Is it because subconsciously you know that the man you chose really can't do what you're asking for him to do? He hasn't positioned himself enough. He hasn't risen into his manhood to the point in which he can actually do those things for you and his offspring. And you know that. And you don't even require certain things of him because you know that by requiring those things, you can essentially lose your relationship. Because you really, if you can be honest with yourself, you've set the bar really low. And you are the one holding your connection together. And you're not trying to rock the boat. Because you know the moment you start requiring for him to step into his power as the man for y'all, some men may actually step into it. But a lot of men are going to just fall to the wayside and leave her to do or you to do it by yourself. So you put up with a lot of stuff that you really shouldn't put up with because you want to keep him around or keep the relationship steady. Because you know that by switching things up and having higher standards after you've given him everything already, that you may not get what you want from him, and that scares you to be by yourself, to be a single mother. It scares you to have that tough conversation with him about him needing to fully provide for you and this baby, to give you a break and the ability to focus on your children, because you just can't do it all. Can't cook, clean, work, have sex with him when he wants to, how he wants to, still look fine, and take care of this baby or babies. You're not Superwoman. Even the women who are stay-at-home moms can have a hard time. So you know that a working mother who has a man in her life, even without one, but a man, because now you have the added stress of having this guy who's really not alleviating the stress, because you can be suffering by yourself. Now you have to also accommodate him on top of still doing everything as if you didn't have him. We have got to require more from men. And we've all had to learn hard lessons, and we have given too much away to men. But I'm here to tell you that you don't understand what you're doing to your children when you sit here and you have these mediocre relationships where you are playing the role of the male and the female because you have to pick up your man's slack. And then on top of that, you give him children he doesn't deserve. You don't understand what you put your children through. I need you to sit down and really look into the future when it comes to making a decision to have a man's baby. Whether you believe in abortion, adoption, or not. I need you to understand that your choices when it comes to how you operate in a relationship when you have a baby, of course, not only affects you but your baby. And you have to think long term of that. Because a lot of women feel like that they are enough, or they just don't think about this because they're so wrapped up in their emotions in the time in which they're carrying this man's child, or even just dating him before they get pregnant. Maybe he's asking you to have his baby. Maybe you're having unprotected sex and he's being very careless because you allow him to be. And because he knows that if he does get a baby in you, he's going to have you for life, and it's just him being able to have a lock on you. Or maybe he just doesn't know any better, and this is what he thinks is okay, and you do too. But something deep down just doesn't feel right about this. In some way, something within you is just saying, I know it's something that's common and it's become normalized, but it just doesn't sit right with me for some reason. You're putting yourself in such a vulnerable position when you choose to have a man's baby before getting married, and making sure that he has resources in place for you and your children. And you're setting yourself up to be the parent who either has to work and send your children to school in a mediocre to average neighborhood with mediocre to average learning capacity within the school system, mediocre to average food choices because of your limited funding for groceries, healthy food, mediocre to average access to extracurricular activities and tutors and learning services if they have any issues, the type of friends they would make, the type of environment they're going to grow up in, how much harder it's going to be for them when they get older and try to establish themselves starting from the bottom because their parents didn't build anything for them to make it a little bit easier. A lot of women are just marrying, or no, I'm sorry, not marrying. They're dating, having babies with men because they love them. Love is not enough. It's not the only thing that matters in a relationship. It's not even the most important thing. Because love changes over time. It's not sustainable by itself. It's not. Mutual values will take you a lot longer of a way than just relying on love. Making sure that the person you have chosen, the man you have chosen to have children by, is already established. It's going to go a lot further than just love alone. You have got to incorporate all these things that matter. Making sure he has the same values as you means that even if you don't have this head over heels love in the beginning, that it will grow to be a strong, healthy love like that because you have someone who treats you well, who invests into you, who loves their children, who puts you first. What woman wouldn't love a man like that? A lot of women feel like they have to have these strong emotions for a man, like this overwhelming I'm in love, madly in love feeling to be married. And that's not a good thing, because that's why so many women are easily give their power away. They're so emotionally, they're over emotionally invested, thinking that that is what makes a strong relationship. And they're ignoring a lot of the other stronger foundational pieces of a relationship. They're not putting as much focus on those things. Y'all don't even, a lot of women aren't even asking questions about these men's values, and then you have their children and you found out that they want to raise their children, the child, you all's child, y'all want to raise your children differently. He has this raising style and you have this raising style. Maybe you want to stay home because you had a rough pregnancy, but he didn't get with you expecting to have to carry the financial load by himself. He doesn't want that burden by himself. He got with you because you help pay bills too. There are men that I have heard say, my wife can stay home, or my girlfriend can stay home while she's pregnant, but I need her to get back out there and work when she has this baby. Like, do you think that that's truly love, and is that someone you really want to have children with? Not understanding how fragile your body is during pregnancy, giving you the space and time to be able to enjoy your pregnancy, rest, heal, enjoy your baby. We shouldn't have so many women who have little newborn babies in daycare centers. We shouldn't have so many teachers and daycare teachers saying that they spend more time with these children than their own parents do, because both parents are working so much that the teacher is now the mommy, or grandma's the mommy. And the easiest way to eliminate that is to vet your man before you even get that deep into a situation. From the day you meet him, you need to be vetting him thoroughly. First, before you even do that, you need to know what you want out of a situation. Know what your values are. Empower yourself and level up. so that you can attract the best possible mate who has the same values as you, who believes in providing. He believes in being the protector. He believes in solving problems for his family, not leaving you to solve the problems. He takes glory in that. He relishes in that because it's a part of his manhood. That's a part of his purpose. A man who can't provide for his family, what really is he? What is he? So think about that before you start getting in these serious situations with men. Does he want to? So, vetting, because a lot of women don't know what vetting looks like. If you want to be married, you need to marry a man. You need to date men who want marriage. If you want to be married, you need to know in your mind how long you think for you is the cutoff time of dating, engagement, to get married. A lot of women fall for the okie doke, and I don't like. We're falling for this same bullshit. Like, we'll be in these relationships for years, being girlfriends, living with our dudes. We both paying bills. You cooking and cleaning. You doing that thing. You know, you're doing his thing and your thing, and just kind of doing your thing together. And then you may have some kids with them, and you want to be married, but he hasn't asked you to marry him, and you've made it clear that you want to get married, but he's brushing it off or he's dragging his feet. And then maybe he proposes finally. And you have this long engagement where you just been engaged for years, still doing the same stuff. And then maybe he finally marries you. But his marriage isn't quite what you thought it was going to be. You thought it was going to be so much more special, and he just doesn't make you feel special, and he doesn't seem to appreciate you, and y'all don't have that romantic spark. You didn't require much of anything from him. You became a convenience. Maybe he really wanted you in the beginning. Maybe not, just depending on how you showed up in the connection. Maybe you were a convenience the whole time, or maybe you showed up with more empowerment in the beginning of the relationship, and then over time you started to release a lot of your power to him, and the relationship dynamic change, regardless of the fact. So many women give give access to men, their womb, and don't require a lot for it but love. And they wonder why motherhood is such a struggle for them. You set yourself up to struggle. You have a child with someone you don't have a strong foundation with, who won't even play his role to help alleviate the stresses of childbearing and child raising and household cultivating for you. And if we can change this for the women who don't have children and the women who do have kids, every woman, if you already have children and you've done this, don't do it again. Now you know. And don't think because you have kids that you're somehow not worthy of getting a quality mate. You are worthy. You honestly may not have the same options as a woman who has no kids, depending on how many children you have. But you definitely have high quality options. If you upgrade yourself and your state of thinking and how you show up in relationships and allow men to treat you, and strengthen your boundaries and have good standards for yourself, learn how to vet men, you're going to be able to attract that quality. And you're going to see the difference in motherhood and how your children's lives change. We shouldn't be blaming the baby daddies because they're not being the baby daddies they should be. We should be taking accountability for the part we had to play in this situation, because we can then change it We're not trying to be victims because victims stay in victimhood. We're trying to empower ourselves by taking accountability because we can't change his behavior. We can't make him do anything, but we can grow. We can heal. We can make a different set of choices to help ourselves to align with the kind of life we want to have so that our lineages can thrive, especially as a black community. The reason why we look the way we look is because the women have they have not lost their power, they have given it away in masse. You are not a victim to baby mamahood. You allowed it. Unless it was taken from you, you allowed it. Whether you did it out of ignorance or you did it fully knowing what you were doing and thinking that you could make the situation differently because you felt like you were so special that he wouldn't do to you what he did to all the other girls, or that even if he didn't have any kids that he displayed, that you just felt like that I can still do this and get away with it. So and we do have women who do this. They may have a boyfriend, he's a baby daddy, and then he marries them, blase blase. But we have a high out of wedlock birth rate in the black community. And all I see is so many children who are suffering because of that. So many kids who say, I don't know who my father is, or I hardly see my parents because they're always working, or my parents are always fighting, my parents don't have a good relationship. We can alleviate a lot of this. It starts with us. We're the gatekeepers of life. We're the gatekeepers of life. And then people say that men are the gatekeepers of marriage because they're the ones who propose. But sweetheart, when a man meets a certain type of woman, he's running her down, whether she may be ready or not to try to give her that ring, if that's who he wants. So who has the power in that situation? He or her? He may be given the ring, but he's essentially asking her to be his wife. He's not telling her to be his wife. He has to get her permission first. But we have so many women who are waiting on men, who are just, they want this love so badly that they become, it's like the men just, okay, well, when I feel like doing, I'm going to do it. And she's like, okay. When I feel like acting right, I'm going to do it. Okay, baby. When I feel like proposing, even though you've been with me 4 or 5 years, I'll do it. But otherwise, we're just going to be in the situation we're in. Okay, baby. I want you to have my baby first. I'm not proposing to you. I'm not even talking about marriage because I'm not ready for marriage. But I want you to have my baby. Okay, baby. So busy trying to make him happy. And you really are going to attract who you deserve to have when you start making yourself happy. When you live from a place of integrity and you know you're not using people, but you still are focused on your own happiness, you're going to attract the kind of man who is going to chase you down for your love because you're that high value. He doesn't see this. He doesn't see this type of woman that you are. Probably never seen it. Afraid that if I don't jump on this opportunity right now, I'm not going to get it again. She's one of a kind. So I pray that she accepts my proposal. And I will be honored for her to have my babies. And I would dare not ask for her to pay a bill. No. She's going to stay home and take care of these kids if she chooses to, when she can open up a little business, or if she wants to get a career, she can do that, but it's all up to her. Because I got this as her man. That's how worthy she is for me to work my ass off for her and my children. If your man don't have this kind of energy, baby, you got the wrong kind of man. If your man, you need to be trying to wrangle in that thing in that relationship. Because if you out here having to pick up his slack, or if you're out here having babies or considering having babies, or even letting a man have a conversation with you about having some babies, and he ain't in his power as a man in your connection with him, if he don't have no resources to give to you and this baby, if he doesn't have a home, some good credit, financially secure with a career, not a day job, investments, 401k, and traditional, generous, willing to give to you, wanting to assist you. If he's gonna be so tired from working that he can't help you with these kids, he's going to set aside the money to get you a nanny. A lot of y'all think this kind of stuff is just only for rich women. No, it's for women who require it. Men will step up to the plate if you require it from them. Period. If you stop dating men who you have to make excuses for as to why they can't be better for you, as to why you have to work when you don't want to, as to why you can't just sit back and be the woman, take care of the home, the children, start you a little side business for your family. If you keep on coming up with reasons why, all you're essentially doing is coming up with excuses as to why he can't make that happen for you. Because, again, men are problem solvers. This is a problem. Well, I want to be home with my children. I'm tired. I don't want to leave my baby with the daycare. I don't want to work this job and be harassed by my boss and my coworkers. Have to commute every day, drop my baby off at daycare, my baby getting sick. Or I want to be able to work from home as I see fit in my finances. You know, I don't have to worry about if I'm making a certain amount of money right now because you got it. And I can take my time in building my finances working from home. Because you don't look for my paycheck. You look for me to be the woman in the relationship. When more women start to think like this and operate this way, we're going to see more men rise to the occasion. All of a sudden, all of these men who couldn't get it together, or all of these men who needed you to pay bills because it's hard out here and we need a 2-person household. All those kind of men are going to all of a sudden start to get some pep in their step and find a way to make extra money, because guess what? The kind of women they want don't want them, or the women who they were getting they're not accepting that type of mediocre behavior. And in order for them to get a woman, they're going to have to step it up, or they're going to be alone, and their genes are going to die off. In the animal species, well, we are animals, but in the extended animal species, the female species of the female animal does not. She picks the best mate. She doesn't give the guy a chance who, well, he's trying, or, you know, which I understand, if you're trying, you're trying. But she doesn't give the guy who doesn't have his shit together, the animal or whatever. The lioness doesn't give the lion who can't fight off the other lion and prove that he can run the tribe. She doesn't give him a chance. She gives the one who won, the one who has it together. Stop feeling sorry for these men. Stop dating down. Start leveling up. Start being choosy about who you're choosing to lay down with, who you're choosing to have children with. Set yourself up so that you can be comfortable, and so can your children. But yeah, this is the end of my rant, and I hope you got something out of this. I will say this may be triggering for some women, but instead of being triggered, listen to the message. Because just because you may have kids now doesn't mean you can't implement this in your life and still change things. But for those who don't have children, do not let a man trick you into having his baby because you love him. Consider the words I'm speaking to you, okay? But thank you all for watching my video, listening to my video. And if you like my content, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good evening.